BC. What's up, guys? It's the new year, 2026, and I'm going to do the vinyl tag of 2026, which was done this time by David Atkinson, old boy from the UK, which I've been following him for some time now. I remember he did a few videos I really dug, was like when him and his family was in Prague, Czechoslovakia, that he did some footage over there, and then his 12-inch his 12-inch thread that he did, and that was real cool too. I've always been following that guy. He always shows some really interesting stuff. But he had put together 20 questions, and I'm going to go through it the best way I can. I think I have all 20 of them. There's a few of them I probably don't, but majority of them I do. So I'm going to do all 20. So I'm going to start off with the first one. Best find of 2025. I got two of them. It was hard just to nail one. When one of them you knew I was after for years was this one. I saw this one on the wall. Original 1971 can Toggle Moggle, which I already have a UK, but this was the one I've been after for, man, you might as well say decades, man. This was a nice one to run across. I ran across this in a suburban store, man. They had it on the wall, and they had it for a real high price, but I was able to get it at a lower price. Traded in some stuff, some dupes. This one was one of my best finds. And then also this one. This was the one I was after since I started collecting Riverside. Blue Mitchell, Sextet, Jimmy Heath, Curtis Fuller, Philly Joe Jones, Wynton Kelly. You talking about a lineup that's stellar. But yeah, this is an original 1959 on Riverside. This was one I was after, the Vamp. When I first heard the Vamp, that was the one I wanted to, that's the back of it. This is the Riverside label. Found this in the wild. I remember seeing this posted on Instagram. A place was selling it, and I was like, man, I can't afford that. But I got it way less, completely way less than what it goes for. But yeah, those are my two best finds 2025. Those are good ones. All right, share your favorite musical experience in 2025. Well, I didn't go to many concerts. I only went to one. Me and my childhood friend, we got together and we was like, man, we got to go check out this show. It was at the casino in Gary, Indiana, and it was called The Function. It was featuring, which is a tripped out story. It was Scarface, DJ Quick, and Too Short. DJ Quick canceled. When I got there, I found out DJ Quick canceled. But yeah, Too Short was there. This is one of his later releases, which is so funny. I met Too Short back at the Temple restaurant in Chicago near Water Tower. That was, I want to say, 1995. I was coming from a CC Peniston concert at the House of Blues. So me and my old boss, we was like, hey, let's go grab us something to eat. We went to Temple. Too Short was in there. I got to meet Too Short for the first time. And also on that tour was Scarface. I met Scarface in 97, which is so fun. I'm going to show the album. This was the album that was cut with him and Tupac. This is released after Tupac's death, but he already recorded this with Tupac. This is Untouchable. I actually met Scarface at George's Music Room on the West Side. I never saw him live perform, but I met him. I did a one-on-one. I met him, man. He was cool as hell. It was him and the rappers, Johnny P and Do or Die. They were there at the George's Music Room on the West Side. I met Scarface. He signed it. He said on there, to Lavelle, peace up, Brad Jordan. You know, he never signs Scarface. He signs Brad Jordan, his real name. So that was my musical experience. I got to check out The Function with Too Short and Scarface. All right, number 3. Your vinyl record collection in 10 years times, bigger or smaller? I think it will be pretty much around the same. I'm about at 2,500. I probably won't go as far as 3,000. Because my room constraints. I'm only 10 by 12 in this room here. But all my records are in here. So yeah. So I would say it'll grow just a little bit. Let's say, okay, when you move into a new home, which album would you pull out and turn to 11? I'm gonna do a jazz one. I got a lot of hip hop. I was thinking hip hop, but I'm gonna do a spin on it. I'm gonna pull out one I always, whenever I upgrade, like I change my cartridge on my turntable, got different speakers and amps and stuff. I always play this one, 1987's Pat Metheny, Still Life Talking, because it has that atmosphere, the instruments. This was part of his Brazilian trilogy. This is the second one of the trilogy. This is my favorite, but I always throw this on, turn it to 11. It's just, man, you talking about, it just takes you to another world. It's really like international. It's jazz meets Brazil. That's what I would say this record is. Pat Metheny, Still Like Talking, 1987 on the Geffen label. Show 2 albums of your favorite male and female singers. Well, everybody knows the male. That one hasn't changed or wavered. Shoot, he's still number one in my book. He was probably I would say he was the first artist I ever heard as a kid, and that's Marvin Gaye. Yeah, it's not that you can really say too much what's going on. You know, all those albums, Trouble Man, Let's Get It On, I Want You, which is probably my favorite. Yeah, but this one here, even a track on here, If I Should Die Tonight, you talking about the pain and his voice and the textures, the level of his flow. Marvin is pretty much the hardest to beat. The Marvin to me, and I've seen some videos with him singing, he was like laying down on his side and he was still singing. This dude is like the Prince of Motown. Yeah, Marvin is my dude. So that'll be the male. But never saw Marvin. I was too young. But this one I saw, and she still is tops to me. Lady T. I saw her and Rick James on the reunion of the U&I tour that was at the Erie Crown Theater in Chicago, 2003. Rick James passed away maybe 6 or 7 months after that, but I caught them on that tour. And you talking about Tina's voice, didn't even lose a step. Her voice was on point. Songs like Yes Indeed and Square Biz, Ooh La La. That Yes Indeed had me, and I had some awesome seats. I was at the 5th row of that show, and hearing her voice, you talking about, she had that whole place crying. People was yelling and they couldn't believe how, and then she played guitar and they gave her a guitar. She was playing rhythm and her voice, oh man, she was, yeah. Tina is like, and the sad thing is she passed away in 2010. People still talk about her soul. Man, she recorded with everybody. She did an album with Lenny Kravitz. She did so much stuff. Her catalog is like, even when she worked with, was it Baby, that was with Lil Wayne and them. She did an album with him also, with Corrupt. She is so diverse. And then she did an album with George Duke. I love that song, Congo Square. Lady T, definitely tops for me for favorite singer. All right. Show your top 3 soul dance records. Okay. You got one. This is another one. Another artist that I really used to just look at her records. My mom used to have her records back in the 70s. This one right here, you talking about dance. The disco. This is Giorgio Moroder at his best. When he hooked up with Donna Summers, you talking about, yeah, like stuff like I Feel Love, With Love, Hot Stuff, Bad Girls, Walk Away, MacArthur Park, Dim the Lights. Love that. This is a comp that I bought some years ago. Came out in 1987. This is a 12 inches. This is all of her main 12 inches. And they all flow together. Donna Summers. That's one. 1997's New Yorican Soul with an all-star cast. This one right here, this is a banger here. They released this as, it was a white cover, 2 LP. And then they had a 4 LP of mix of this. This is the best version of this. This is a 6 LP, all cut at 45. The other ones wasn't cutting at 45, it was at 33. But this one features Roy Ayers, George Benson, Tito Puente, Louis Vega, oh man, La India, which is a salsa singer. She does Runaway. Jocelyn Brown, The Black Gold Sun. Yeah. But the George Benson cut on here is You Can Do It. This whole record flows. Came out in 97, so it was a mixture of salsa. Oh yeah, and the South Soul Orchestra is on here too. So this is mixture of disco, house, dance. This one to get you moving when you play that. And then I'm gonna throw a funk vibe in there. A funk record. Slave, featuring Steve Arrington. You got different levels of funk. I know a lot of people have been showing Parliament and Funkadelic, and these are my guys from Ohio. Slave, Way Out, Watching You, Steal Your Heart, Snapshot, Nobody Can Be You, of course, Way Out, Slide. Can't go wrong with Slave. This is the best of. This has everything on here. The Watching You, classic. Yeah. This will get you dancing too. You get on the dance floor. These guys in the 80s, these dudes was rough. All right. Okay. Show a real stinker track you hate on an album. Yep. Actually my favorite U2 album, Ultraviolet, Light My Way. I hate that song. This is the song I always skip because it sounds just like all the other songs. It's just something about it. I just do not dig it. When I first saw U2, I saw U2 years later. I want to say in the 2000s. It was on the No Line on the Horizon tour. I was hoping they'd do some stuff off of this album since I dug this album, and they picked that song. I hate that song. That's definitely, I like everything else. Love Is Blind, Fly, and Mysterious One. I hate Ultraviolet. That one I can do without on that one. Pick an album from each decade. So I'm going to go through the different decades. Probably one of my earliest purchases when I started collecting vinyl. The Doors, Strange Days, original mono. This is actually, I ain't gonna say probably my favorite Doors album. It is my favorite Doors album. The second album, released in the Summer of Love. This door out. Jim was a poet. The band was a killer support cast. But yeah, that's 60s. Strange Days, 67. 1971, Thrill Is Gone, my favorite version. How fitting. B.B. King live at Cook County Jail, Chicago. I remember hearing this as a kid. I used to go to my cousin's house for barbecues. They played the hell out of this. Every day I had the blues, all of that on here. But yeah, this is my 70s, 71. 1985, I'm almost going to high school. I hear Head Over Heels. When they're in the school, the video, Tears for Fears. Oh, I got to see these guys. Just like I saw BB too. Caught BB before he passed. BB had Jeff Beck open. But yeah, I caught these guys with Hall and Oates. Oh man, you talking about? And they did that song. They had that whole Allstate Arena like, whew, had us in chills. We was like in heaven. Well yeah, 1985. Songs from the Big Chair. We go into the 90s. Hip hop. I know a few people showed this one. Yeah, this was a big game changer. Tribe. The coolest thing is Tribe. But I ain't done talking about the Tribe. The Tribe's gonna come up a little bit later. But yeah, the Tribe. Low End Theory. Check the Rhyme. The whole album. Bugging Out. Scenario. We got the jazz. You talking about mixing hip hop. This is when the hip hop cast was mixing jazz, man. This is game changer, the 90s. Probably one of the most important albums of the 90s. Tribe. The 2000s. Got into Radiohead in the 90s. This was a game changer too. They got away from the guitar, rock, and they started going into electronics, man. You know what song that really got me was the first track, Everything in Its Right Place. This is my original copy. I bought this when this first came out. It's the 10-inch original on Parlophone. Still one of my favorites by Radiohead. That's the 2000s. The 2010s. We'll go with this one. Saw them on this tour. Massive Attack, Heligoland, killer lineup, Martina Topley Bird, Damon Albarn from Blur. Man, you talking about Horace Andy. This lineup was, you talking about killer. They had two drummers. I saw them at the Riviera. Two drummers. You talking about they smoked. They was killing it, man. But yeah, this is the original pressing of this album too. Comes with a CD. All right. You get an opportunity to spend a day alone with an artist, walking the mountain trail or the beach. Which artist would it be? Okay. I'm going to say Q-Tip. In 1999, I met Fife on, I should have pulled this album. I got it right here. I'll pull it. Should be more prepared, but I got them right here. I know where all my stuff is at. Saw the Tribe on this tour. Love moment. Got to hang out with Fife. Fife was going around meeting people. He came to my table, me and my buddy. We were talking about hip hop, man. We talked about Midnight Marauders, all of that stuff. I was trying to meet Q-Tip, but I couldn't get to him. He was surrounded. I think this is around the time when he put out his solo album. But I was hanging with Fife. Fife was so down to earth, cool. We drunk a beer together, man. The dude was cool. But yeah, back to that. I would love to ask Q-Tip on this album, Bonita Applebum, how did you use this sample Daylight? What made you think of that song Daylight to make that sample for Bonita Applebum? I never want, and even One Love from Nas Illmatic. Q-Tip is a creative cat. He's still creative, man. He even did LL's last album. But yeah, I wanted to ask Q-Tip, how did you come up with those samples? How did you think about the writing? What's the writing process? Okay. All right. Okay. Show a record that contains a track that always brings a tear to your eyes. Coltrane, Alabama. Dedicated to the bombings of the 16th Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. The 4 girls that died. Alabama, every time I hear it, I think of that. And I remember my grandmother was from Mobile, which is down the road from Birmingham, and I had a lot of family down there. But my grandmother told me about this. And a lot of the stuff that happened down in the South I knew about before I got to school and learned. But yeah, Alabama. Even when it opens up with Coltrane blowing and McCoy Tyner does textures on the piano before even Elvin kicks in, but it's almost like him and McCoy, they just talking. It's so surreal. Alabama definitely brings a tear to your eye. Show 3 albums from artists you tried to like. I don't have any 3 albums that I tried to like. If I don't like them, I just don't like them. Foo Fighters, I never got it. I don't know. I just didn't get it. I don't know. Foo Fighters is one. I like Dave Grohl. He's a great musician. Drums is his strong point in my opinion. Dave Matthews. Probably the only song I like by him is with Santana on Supernatural. But his solo stuff, I wasn't into Dave Matthews. A third person I really couldn't think about. I really couldn't think of a third person. Not off the top of the head, but I give you 2. That was my 2. Foo Fighters and Dave Matthews. Show an album from an artist, character that despises you. Was it that despises you? Yeah, disappoints you. I'm sorry. Well, I used to get the Mojos back then, and then I remember in the 90s, I got the Mojo, and I read about this, and it was true. I ended up pulling it up on the internet. I pulled this album, Liam Gallagher. I can't believe it, in the 1996 Brit Awards, he told Michael Hutchison has-beens shouldn't be presenting awards to gotta-bees. I can't believe he said that. And it's just crazy how arrogant they were. They were great guy. I love this album. I love the first 2 records. But for him to say that to Michael Hutchison, I dig Michael. I love INXS. INXS was dope. So what Michael Hutchins did, he ended up cutting the song as a payback, Elegantly Wasted, to counteract to what Liam Gallagher told him at the 1996 Brit Award. So that's that. All right, what's this one? If you had to sell a vinyl record, which one would you keep? Well, I got 2 of them. Would be this one. This one was VCLT from a buddy I still talk to. I still have the paperwork. This is an original wrecking ball. This came from Holland. This was my first VCLT I got. Still have the paperwork he gave me. But yeah, this is an original copy. This is when I was listening to a lot of bluegrass. I was into Dylan. But yeah, Wrecking Ball. This is my original copy he sent me. I will never sell that. I love this record. Neil Young's on here. There's a lot of people on this record, man. You talking about classic. And her version of Mad Is Love. Steve Earle, Goodbye. And the opening track, Where Will Be? Where Will I Be? Yeah, I will never sell that record. And of course, a jazz record. You know I'm going to put one jazz record. This was the first, I would say this was the first Impulse I ever bought. Bought this at Reckless. White label. I would never sell that one. I love this record so much. Yeah, classic Coltrane quintet with McCoy. All right. Discuss your VC highlights. Yo, my VC highlight was in August when I got to meet Mazzy, Vance, Emma, Jeff Kempin, Jeff from Minnesota, Andy G, Logan, Broke on Record, Mike from Hub Tunes. Yeah, you talking about killer hangout. We went to, I know you've probably seen the video. We had a lot of views. We went to Reckless. Then we went to Dusty Grooves. Then we ended it at Signal Records on Ashland over in the Wicker Park neighborhood. And then we ate at the pizza restaurant. But yeah, that was a good killer hangout, man. We had fun. That was a VC hangout. Name your favorite musical biopic. I have a whole bunch of different music biopics. It could have been The Miles, but I'm going to go with this one. This one came out in 2015. This is probably one of the reasons I started really getting into Chet Baker. Ethan Hawke did an exceptional job on here. Born Blue. This is actually a documentary on pretty much his life, and it ended in the 80s. I don't want to butcher the lady that acted with him, his name. Carmen, I know it's Carmen Ejogo. That's who played in here also. Ejogo. Born Blue. Chet Baker story. Give me 3 reasons why jazz matters. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why jazz matters. And that'll be the musicians, the solos, the compositions. Musicians. This one features my favorite Monk song. Look at the musicians on here. Coleman Hawkins, Art Blakey, Gigi Grice, Thelonious Monk, Coltrane. Coltrane's on here also. Ruby My Dear. Compositions. After Scott LaFaro passed, this one has my favorite Bill Evans composition. The Person I Knew. Never heard nothing. Probably one of the most important songs in jazz. And this actually features Nico on the cover. Nico from the Velvet Underground. That's Nico. But yeah, that's, you got jazz, bebop, post bop, hard bop, free, spiritual, man, avant-garde, smooth jazz. You could put that in there. Contemporary jazz. There's so many different. It almost can go as further as how rock music has its different stages, a different categorizing. But yeah, that's my interpretation of jazz. And then you go with I'll say my favorite record. This is probably the record, one of the first records that got me into jazz. Moaning, Art Blakey. When I first started collecting Blue Notes, this was on my list. This one and Something Else, definitely on my list of one to buy. And Moaning, the title track, was written by this guy, Bobby Timmons, which never gets his pub, but one of the great composers. This is a classic, Moaning. I got like probably 3 or 4 different pressings of this. Yeah. You're an innocent man on death row. Give your last request. What song would you play? I go with the one I picked up over the summer. You can't get no darker than that. A Forest. That sounds like a killer way to go out. The Cure, The Forest. Oh, that's a good way to go out and close your life on that time. The Forest. And this one, I remember getting this coming from jury duty. I stopped off at a show and finding this grill was like made my month, man. You talking about killer. Forest. That's one way to play when you get ready to check out of this sucker. All right. Selling artist, a listener. Okay, we'll go with my favorite artist. He's one of my favorite artists. I like so many different people. I'm going to go with Fela. This is the first album I got into by Fela. This is my original Nigerian press. Zombie. Fela was a monster. That guy used to just, you talking about, he was just a monster, man. Dude mixed all the stuff. He improvised. This is my favorite album. This one right here, Confusion. Sounds like a crowd rock record, then it goes into more of a funk. The trumpets. Everything about it was dope. What makes him so cold, he just gets you riled up. It's like a revolution. Fela is that dude, man. Fela. Yeah. Yep. And then the final one, you arrange a VC meetup, 3 people you invite. Arnaldo, Fidelis Frequency. Definitely him. Jen's Addiction. Definitely her. Because she has great knowledge, man. And Dom, Seeking a Thread. Definitely my boy. I definitely want to hook up with him, man. That's my guy there. Dom is that dude. But yeah, that's my vinyl tag. Did it 30 minutes. BC. Peace.